Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. I hope you've been following the series on how to increase workforce productivity. It is incredibly timely. I think you're going to love it. I'm Frank Warner. I'm the CEO and founder of People Productive, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Terri Mays, a certified culture engineer. So today we're going to be covering the notion of belonging and how that matters. So we're going to get into this in some detail. Because people should be able to bring their whole self to work. Everybody has value to add in one way or another, and it's super important that they are able to bring them whole selves to work. So if you've looked at how we've risen up Maslow's pyramid here, each step higher up the rung you go, you're increasing the level of productivity. So level 3 of Maslow, you're getting this sense of belonging now. We went through how caring culture matters. We went through level 2. Now we're on level 3. And people, the workers are starting to realize that, hey, they actually care about me. I'm a person. And then when they realize not just the leaders, but coworkers care about them, a sense of belonging starts to emerge and a whole different level of productivity starts to be exhibited by that individual. And so we're going to get into discussing some of the things that drive that sense of belonging, helping the people grow a bit in the organization. And Tara, I'll just hand off to you so I don't ramble on here.
Yeah, this is another good one. Once people start to feel like they belong, they have made some connections there where it's not just a work relationship. You start to see people forming friendships where they hang out outside of work.
Yeah.
They're doing things together. They're inviting each other over to their homes or out for dinner or, drinks or something that's outside of the normal working hours. They're spending more time together because they're truly friends. And that's when you start to see some real good chemistry happening on the team. You see those helping behaviors where people are just willing to pitch in. They want to do more than's asked of them because they want the team to be successful. They realize that it's not just about me finishing my part, but the entire team working well together. And when you start to have that kind of a sense on the team where people feel like they belong, then you really start to see inclusion kick in where people want to get everybody's opinion. They're not leaving people out. They're really listening for someone else's thoughts. They ask the question and then wait for the answer. It's one thing to be on teams where you try to fake that, where people will ask you what you think and then they don't really wait for the answer and they don't really take into consideration what you just said. But when you have belonging, they actually do listen. They
Yeah,
actually
they care
do.
about the other people.
Yeah, you care and you want to hear what the other person has to say. And you stop the conversation to make sure that everybody is included. That means calling on people that may not necessarily speak up because they're shy or for whatever reason don't want to, they don't feel comfortable just blurting out their opinions. But when you make space for them and you make room for them to feel comfortable and let them know, hey, we really want to know what you think. We really want to know, if you have any ideas that can help. When you start to do that with people, that sense of belonging just starts to skyrocket. People feel like, this is a place where I can put roots down. This is a place where I want to be. I'm not just going here because I have to and I'm dreading, Monday mornings, but I'm going because I really want to be there. I really have friends and I look forward to working with them. I have great working relationships. There's lots of cooperation. I'm in a good position and I want to stay there. So I'm doing everything I can to make the team as successful as possible.
Yeah, I think this is huge. Work isn't really a department, it's a social system. It's a group of people who are working together. It's a social environment. If you do it right, it's a tribe. And these relationships, the blooming of these relationships in the sense that there's more to this place than just work, that actually have friends here in relationships. That's what really drives it to a whole new level. Because when people have friends there, they care about their success as
Right.
well. So it's the collective success of that group that starts to drive the work forward. And as Tara says, people look forward to coming in. They understand that these coworkers can really make a difference and they're willing to help them. If they're struggling, they're willing to go over and give them support, right? They're going to willing to share their knowledge. And when companies where people don't have that real sense of belonging, or they don't feel the company cares about them, they tend to hold on to their knowledge.
Right.
That might be the thing that's going to guarantee their survival over someone else's.
Yeah,
And
they're looking for leverage. They're
yeah,
looking their survival instincts
100%.
kick in at that point, and you're looking for ways that you can give yourself the competitive edge. You're looking for ways that you can just survive this chaotic environment that you're in.
Mhm.
When people feel like they have to survive going to work, they're not nearly as cooperative and helpful as they would be if they felt like they belonged there.
Yeah. And you know, when there's a real deep sense of acceptance, people are much more open to others' ideas. They're good listeners. They're willing to help the place change. So when you talk about change management, when people have a deep sense of belonging, they care about the organization. So they're going to help that change along. They're not going to fight it. You've got to make sure that people can bring their whole self to work. You want them to express the best parts of them. You don't want them hiding pieces of who they are. And that's true acceptance when that takes
Yeah.
place. And then when things are going on, you know, you want them included. You got to realize that a good idea can come from anyone. And you want to include people in things, not to waste their time when it's relevant to them. Be inclusive. Don't waste people's time because, you know, we talk about workforce productivity all the time, but inclusion is understanding who should be included and why, and making sure those people are included and don't feel left out in any way. That's a real deep sense of belonging. And so these things really do matter, and they tend to drive up the whole productivity of the organization. And so this whole sense of belonging is an incredible way of increasing workforce productivity,
Yeah.
building knowledge, sharing knowledge, having much more effective meetings. People who have a best friend at work, I think it was, are 12 times as likely to be engaged in the Gallup surveys. I mean, we're talking incredible numbers. You can see the impact of friendship. We did an episode on that one time.
Yeah.
And
You
it's,
know, a lot of times people kind of overlook that thought
Mhm.
and they feel like, that's just something kind of hokey that you know, I have a best friend at work. What does that really mean? Why do I need that? But it's not just about having that best friend for you to have a connection to the person. That person is connected to the company. And
Mhm.
as you build those relationships with the people in the company, you form a connection and a bond to the company. That's how it works. And a lot of times people see that as insignificant. It's not something that's important, but it's hugely important because the people are the company. When people walk away from companies, they're walking away not from the company, they're walking away from the people.
Yeah.
They're saying something about this environment. I don't feel connected. I don't feel like I belong. I feel like there are better opportunities for me elsewhere. People are leaving people are leaving people, not just leaving the company.
Yeah, for sure. It's much harder for people to leave when they have friends there.
Right.
And years later, what people talk about is not the company they work for, but the people they miss from that company.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
shows you how important these relationships are. That's what keeps people there. That's what makes them put down roots and stay. We did a whole series on belonging and how to make the roots grow deeper and longer. And that is just that important an attribute. You got to make sure that, you know, people are supporting one another, you know, when they agree on things, that they have their back and they support one another in the meetings, and make sure that people know that they're really on that team in a deep and meaningful way.
Yeah.
How important this is.
Yeah. People call a company good or bad based on how the people are at the company. They're not necessarily looking at profit and loss margins
Yeah.
and saying, this is a good company because they have good profits or they have good benefits. Those are things that play into it. But in the final analysis, when you start talking about a company and how a person feels about that company, it's going to be based on how the people made them feel.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It is how they felt. That's what drove everything. So if you want to take productivity now to a whole new level, remember belonging is a very important factor. No question about it. And Terry, you have other things you want to say about level 4, increasing productivity with belonging?
Yeah, support. We didn't talk a whole lot about that one, but supporting each other, that helpful
Mhm.
behavior we did talk about, but
Yeah,
having a support system at work is huge.
it
So
is.
there are going to be times when people have things going on in their personal life, and that's just the fact that you can't get around that. Humans are human and human things happen. And there are going to be times when you need to support each other and you need to have somebody that can go to the meetings for you, that can complete some assignments for you if necessary,
Great
that
point.
can step in when you're not able to be there. Those supporting behaviors and having people know that somebody's got my back while I'm gone, and then I've got somebody else's back.
Yeah,
That makes people stay connected to teams. That's what makes people feel like, okay, I'm a part of this team and I'm an integral part. The work that I'm doing is important so that when I'm absent, I make sure that it gets done. I don't
it's so
just get
important. That
things.
support, boy, when you're in a bind and the other people are willing to pitch in and help you out, maybe to do some of your work so you can take care of what you have to, there's no better feeling than that. And there's
Yeah,
nothing that deepens the bonds of the team members more than that type of actual looking out for somebody. That's huge. Absolutely
absolutely.
huge. That is just an enormous sense of belonging. So, look, we're here every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We have another broadcast. We're moving on with the series. Episodes 5, we're going to be covering meaning, the importance of meaning. If you want to take productivity even to another level, you're going to have to make sure that people find meaning in the work. So, we'll be covering that in the next episode. And we hope you're going to be able to join us for that. So, see